Today we're going to be talking about how you can run a faster 40-yard dash. In this video, we're going to be going over how you can have a perfect stance with the 40-yard dash, a perfect start on the 40, how you guys can hit the acceleration phase faster and hit a faster top speed. Also in this video, we're going to be giving you some drills specifically to improve your 40-yard dash. So one of the most important things about the 40-yard dash, before we even get into the drive phase, the acceleration, the drills to get faster, is your setup and your stance. So your stance is honestly what sets you up to have the most explosive get off as possible, because everybody knows the start of the 40-yard dash is the most important thing, and your stance sets you up for an explosive start like we mentioned. So how you're going to start out, let's say I'm trying to run the 40-yard dash this way. What you're going to do is you're going to turn around and have your feet together. So what you're going to do, and this is if you're a right-hander, I'm doing this like a right-hander. If you're a left-hander, it would be the opposite. So you're going to take your left foot and you're going to step to where your heel is even with your right toe. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take another step to where your right foot is even with your left toe. Then from this point, you are going to pivot and turn around, still keeping your right toe even with your left heel. Then from this position, you are going to bring your right knee down to the middle point of your left foot. It might feel a little bit uncomfortable at first, might feel like you're very close together, but again, we almost want to fall into this first 5 yards of the 40 because we're trying to be as explosive as possible. They call that the drive phase, and we're going to talk about the drive phase in a second. But then essentially what you want to do, you want to have two hands to start on the white line, and then from this position, you're going to stand straight up. Another reason why you want your stance to be a little bit more like on the narrow side is so you have positive shin angles. What do I mean by positive shin angles? You see how my shin is at a 45-degree angle. This is going to allow me to shoot up into my first step of the 40, aka the drive phase, and we're going to talk about that in a second like I mentioned. But that is why we want positive shin angles. We don't want my shin angles to be straight, because then I'm going to pop up. And when we pop up, we are slower on the 40-yard dash. We want explosion for the first 5. Now, another mistake that guys will make is in their stance, they will have their opposite hand will be way up in the air like this, their left hand. And so when your hand is way up in the air, usually with a 40-yard dash, whether it's laser or whether it's hand timed, they're going off of first movement. So your first movement when you're way up like this has to come down. So that might make your time a split second slower, but that split second can make a difference. Guys, a 4.6 and a 4.4 is not that big of a difference to like just a normal eye, but it's a big difference on paper and in terms of like a 40-yard dash ranking, if you will. So you don't want your hand to be up high. You want that positive shin angle position, and you want to be holstered. By holster, like you have a gun holster on your waist, you want to be holstered, so as soon as you take off, we can shoot through, burst, and get out into that drive phase. Now, before we get into the drive phase of the 40-yard dash, if you would like to get faster and want 100+ speed and agility drills that you guys can do, check out that very first link in the description below for first down speed and agility training. We give you, like I said, 100+ speed and agility drills with the exact sets and reps to do, video examples of the drills, and how you guys can add them into a workout routine. We also include on-field workout routines mixed into those drills so you guys can have a structured plan to improve your speed. So if you guys would like to get faster, want drills to work on it, again, check out that very first link in the description below. Let's get back to this video. So now the first phase of the 40-yard dash is going to be that drive phase that we kept mentioning when we were discussing the stance. Now that drive phase is anywhere from, I would say, about 5 to 10 yards, and the goal is to try to be as explosive as possible to set yourself up for the next 30 yards of the 40, which is called the acceleration phase. And we're going to get to that in a second and talk about some things you want to focus on in that acceleration phase. But remember, your stance sets you up for that first 5 to 10. So you're here, you're in your stance, you got that positive shin angle, your hand is holstered. Your first step, which is essentially with your right foot on this, is trying to be a big, powerful step. We are not trying to run as fast as I can for that first 5 yards. We are trying to create explosion and create energy and be powerful with my step. So it's very important that we stay low and we almost essentially fall forward. We're going to be giving you a drill to work on this in a second in this video, but most important thing is we are explosive, we are taking powerful strides, and we have powerful arms. So remember, arms are at a 90 degree, you're swinging at your shoulder trying to be powerful, and we are trying to take as big and as powerful of strides as I can. That energy that we are creating in that first 5 to 10 yards will turn into acceleration on that last 30 of the 40, which will help me finish through the line at top speed, and that's what we're going to discuss with this acceleration phase. Now, the next phase of the 40-yard dash is going to be the 30 yards to the finish, right? So we were focused on being explosive in that drive phase, that first 5 to 10. Now, throughout the acceleration phase, we are trying to hit top speed and finish through as quickly as I can, right? So a lot of guys, the problem with their 40-yard dash is it starts with the stance too as well. They might not have good shin angles, they might pop up straight off the ball, and they feel like they're running very, very fast for the first 5 yards, but your body does not have enough explosion to get you through 40 yards where you're just trying to run as hard as you can. You need to set yourself up to where you hit top speed and you finish through the line with top speed. If you just stand up and run, your time is actually going to be slower because you are going to gas out around that 30 to 35 yard mark. So we need to actually be able to stand up, run, and have long strides. So in this acceleration phase, it is very, very important that you are not cycling behind you with your strides. What do I mean by that? When I am running, I don't want my feet to be trailing behind, and I don't want my heel almost kicking up to my butt like I'm doing a butt kicker. I want my strides to stay out in front of me. I want to strike the ground, ball of the foot. I'm here and my strides are not going behind me and I'm not reaching too far out in front of me. I want my feet to cycle right underneath me. So like I'm here, I want to strike the ground, shoot up, strike the ground, shoot up. That is kind of the running mechanics you want to have for that last 30 yards. Now obviously there's a bunch of different drills that you could do to work on that. There are a bunch of different stride length drills that you can work on that, but essentially that is the mechanics to get you through at top speed. Now one of the common worries of a lot of athletes, a lot of football players, that if I'm doing all this work to get faster, am I going to lose weight, right? So honestly, when it comes down to gaining weight and building size, building healthy muscle mass, you need to focus on two things. You need to focus on staying in a calorie surplus, right, which is consuming more calories than you burn, but a good portion of your calories needs to come from protein. Protein is how you can repair those broken down muscle tissues in your body that you get from lifting and doing field work. Your body's not going to grow, you're not going to make any type of muscle gain if you're constantly overtraining and not taking your recovery seriously. So you want to try to consume, I would say, 1 gram of protein per pound of desired body weight that you're trying to get to. So let's say I'm 150 pounds, I need to get faster, so I'm watching this video, but I also want to gain to 170 pounds, right? I want to gain 20 pounds this off season. You should try to consume 170 grams of protein. That's extremely tough to do without a protein powder supplement or a protein shake supplement. So I developed a supplement company about 2 or 3 years ago, solely based on developing athletes and helping them get bigger in the off season, helping their athletic performance. So we developed a whey protein powder. We just came out with our new salted caramel flavor. It's a great flavor and it's very, very light, very, very easy on the stomach, so it is easy for you to digest. So check out that second link in the description below if you guys would like to get this protein powder. You can get 15% off too if you use the promo code FIRST15 at checkout. So FIRST15, check out that second link in the description below if you'd like to get a great protein powder to help you gain weight this off season. So now we're going to get into some drills that are going to help you out with a 40-yard dash. So this first drill is going to be something called a kneeling jump, and that is going to help you with your get off the line into the 40-yard dash and more explosion on your drive phase, right? So what you're going to do is you're just simply, like I said, kneeling down. You're going to be here in this position, and you're going to simply just dip your hips down, and you are going to explode up and catch yourself into a squat. And I'm going to show you how this is going to look full speed. But why are we doing this drill? How does this even apply to a 40-yard dash? Because when you're coming out of your stance and you're trying to be explosive for 5 yards, what do you got to do with this right foot? You have to explode it up. And a lot of that explosion, a lot of that power comes from your hips and activating fast twitch muscle fibers in your body. So that's what that drill does. It works on that explosion from your hips, you throwing your hips up into the squat. And also if we stay in a 3 to 6 rep range, focus on being as explosive as possible, that works on fast twitch muscle fibers in our body. And when you could activate those fibers, that translates to on-field explosion with a 40-yard dash and just general on-field play. Now, like I said, if this is a little bit easy for you, you could do this exercise holding 2 dumbbells. In high school, what I used to do is I would put a barbell on my back with like 15s on the side. I would dip down and I would do this just to work on a little bit more resistance and to stay in that 3 to 6 rep range to challenge myself. So again, I'm gonna show you how this is going to look full speed. So this next drill we're going to be going over is going to help you guys with that acceleration phase and help you with your top speed. Remember, in that acceleration phase of the 40, that last 30 yards, when you take those strides, you don't want to cycle behind you. You don't want your heel going up to your butt. You don't want your toes facing down. We want my legs to stay at a 90-degree angle, ankle flex, and striking the ground on the ball of my foot straight under me so I can snatch that knee up and maintain my top speed. So this drill forces us to have to stay in that correct cycle or stride length position. So it's going to be called a double A skip. So I'm sure all of you have seen like the track warm-up, the football warm-up, where guys will do just simple A skips, but essentially instead of doing one skip, you're gonna do 2 skips to focus on holding that stride length in the right spot and being able to cycle underneath you. So what it is, you're gonna be here, it's like a hop, hop, switch, 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 and you're taking 2 separate hops on the leg that strikes down. So this works on your stride length, this works on having the proper cycle. I recommend doing about 3 to 4 sets of this for about a 10 to 12 yard space. I'm gonna show you how this is going to look full speed.